Hey, comic book fans, guess what, guys? It's me, it's Spider Slayer. That's right, guys. I'm back with another Walking Dead rewind. That's right, it's been a little while. I'm in the middle of lots of things going on, but I had a little bit of time today to do a couple videos, so we're going to do a Walking Dead rewind, issue number 11. That's right, guys. This issue, we find out that Hershel is actually holding all his family members and his son and I guess a couple neighbors and people here and there, keeping them held up in a barn that Rick wanted to stay at. This issue is pretty close to the TV show. There's a lot of relations to it, so both people, fans of the comic and of the show, can relate to this particular issue. Really, this issue is good. It starts off slow and then it picks up at the very end. Very, very good. So with that being said, we're just going to get started with the review. And here I am. I am tired, guys. There's a lot going on in the past couple of weeks, so again, I am sorry for any delays in videos, but like I said, while I'm doing this move and everything else that surrounds it right now, there's a lot of other things going on. I will try to get out to you as many videos as I can. So, going back to the issue here, Rick and Hershel are discussing about all the people in the barn. And Rick is just sitting there going, are you flipping crazy, dude? He's like, we've been out there and they can kill you in your sleep. And he's like, and Hershel says, well, you've been killing them? And they go on this debate, and you can see Hershel, he's just really agitated about the whole thing. You can see he's like, you're killing them? He's like, you're just killing them? He goes, there could be some regeneration process or to stop, cancer and all this other stuff. And Rick is going off. He's like, they're trying to eat us, for God's sake. And he's like, you gotta kill him right now. And Hershel's just like, that's my son in there, God damn it. And he's just like freaking out and stuff, And Rick is just all of a sudden, he's like, your son, And this is the funny part about this book right here. In this issue is that Maggie and Glenn obviously are hooking up now, and they have a relationship. And as they're arguing, they're like, "Hey, let's sneak away and do it." So it's just pretty funny. And then Hershel, breaks down and everything else, and and Rick is trying now to console Hershel about the whole situation. Hershel just doesn't take it lightly, and he's just like, get your fucking hand off me, and he's all pissed off and stuff. And he's going back and forth saying, what makes you such an expert? You don't know if they're trying to cure a disease and things like that. And he's like, but they're dead. They're dead before they get back up. So it's just some crazy stuff, but eventually Rick agrees to Hershel's terms because he is on their farm and he has to respect that. And Alan is still trying to grieve over, his wife, but he comes to a realization that he has to be there for his kids. Meanwhile, just again, Glenn and Maggie just keep going off and doing their own thing. And later on the next day, Hershel and Rick, they wind up making up and, becoming, I guess you can call friends. He understands the situation and they shake hands, and, Rick respects the whole thing of what's going on, so he decides that, you know, he's going to keep him in there. Um, Andrea tries to make up with Alan, but Alan just doesn't have it, and Dale tries to stand up for Andrea, but Andrea holds her own. You know, she doesn't need Dale there, and she just basically walks away. Carol and Tyrese are basically, you know, their relationship is budding here, which is nice to see. And you know, the next thing we see later on in the issue is that, you know, the groups are learning how to shoot the kids, you know, Glenn and Maggie, and Glenn's shooting Maggie, and they're all lovey-dovey. And then you got Tyrese's uh, daughter and her boyfriend. They're all like helping each other stuff. And, you know, Tyrese is trying to say, this isn't a game, you got to take it seriously, and things like that. And, you know, you see him shooting can. It's like, bing, bing. So at this point of the issue, there's really not that much going on. But Hershel says, you know, whoa, 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 don't shoot that thing. You know, you're shooting the bullets towards the barn, and he's just like, no, no, it's like it's the neighbor's house, and you know, all of a sudden Hershel's just sitting there, and he's like, what? Well, what's going on? You know, he's like, what's up? You know, and all of a sudden we see a walker, and he's just sitting there, you know, walking around, you know, doing his own zombie thing. And he goes, oh, look, I think I can get it from there. And right away, Hershel's like, no, 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 you can't shoot him. You know, it's only one. They're easy this way. And so, you know, Rick cautions Hershel, you know, one bite and it's all over. And then Hershel's trying to guide him. You know, they're trying to guide him over to the barn. And he's just like, oh, I got you. And Rick just says again, he's just like, you know, God, you got this down packed. You know, you seem like you got a system here. And Hershel's just asking, hey, help me get the zombie into the barn. So he goes and he's going to get them into the barn. And as he opens up the barn, now this is what's completely different from the show and the comic, is that Hershel basically opens the barn and he slips and the zombies start coming out. Where in the TV show, we remember when Shane is still alive and he goes AWOL, and Shane's just sitting there going, it ain't the same anymore. And he starts shooting all the zombies. He's like, Shane, enough. And then Shane sits there and shoots the zombie. And that's when Hershel was like, you know, having a breakdown and stuff like that. But so Hershel in the comic opens the barn. So you can see him. He opens it on his own without a Shane going hysterically crazy. And he kind of just slips and goes and falls, and then all of a sudden you see all the other zombies coming out of the barn, and we say, Dad, you know. And also a big difference in the show and this one is that Sophia dies in this particular part in the TV show when all the zombies come out, and she was that last zombie that came out, where Sophia in the comic book is still alive today. I mean, we're almost going into issue 100, and she's still alive. She has not died. So all of a sudden, all the zombies are coming out, and everyone's all scared, and you see the zombies coming, and, you know, I think it's Hershel's, I guess one of his sons sits there and takes him down, and all of a sudden, you know, Rick is saying, get everyone inside, keep them safe, and all of a sudden, he's sitting there, going, not my father. And then a zombie comes from behind and takes him by the neck. He's like, ah! It takes a big chunk out of him. It was Arnold. Yeah, it is Hershel's son. And then we see another one of Hershel's kids. I forgot her name. But she's sitting there going, Arnold, come please, you know. And then the zombies just start overpowering. And then Maggie gets into the situation. And Arnold's sitting there going, oh, he's getting all killed up. And Maggie starts getting in it, and Glenn's like, no, Maggie, because Glenn's trying to protect her, and there's all this crazy shit, and the funny thing is she needs him in the balls, needs Glenn in the balls, and so she can participate in the action, and then all of a sudden, we see the other one getting all eaten up, and Daddy, you know, she's all eaten, and her guts are getting all eaten up, and stuff like that, and it's freaking cool. I mean, it's just a real intense episode. and all of a sudden, Hershel sits there and he's got to shoot the other zombie, shoots him right in the head, shoots all his kids and things like that. I mean, it was just a lot of action at the end of this episode, and towards the end of it, you know, Hershel's just like, I'm sorry, and he points the gun to his head like he's going to kill himself, but um, Rick knocks it out of his head and he goes, Hershel, no. And Maggie's sitting there crying, and he's just saying, oh, I'm so sorry. And that was, and that's the end of that particular issue, of issue 11. So a big climax to that issue. Again, completely different from the TV show to this issue number 11. Like I said, with Shane being in there, opening up the barn, Sophia being the last zombie coming out, the group killing Sophia. None of that takes place in the comic. So when you're a fan of the comic and you read this already and you saw what happened in the TV show, you're like, holy cow, this is crazy. And it was. I mean, it totally flipped it upside down from what you were used to when you read, the comic book. So it added a great, it was a great aspect to the show when they changed it at that point. When I compare the two, I kind of like the show better at this point because Sophia's been a character that's kind of been non-relevant, but in the show she was at that particular point, and in the show it was a big climax, where here it kind of just ends, and then we go forward from that point on. But nevertheless, it's a good issue. It's a good read. If you guys haven't read issue 11, go ahead and read it. It is in this volume number 2, Miles Behind Us. That's where I got this particular issue from. Very good read, guys. So I'm glad I could get this Walking Dead Rewind up to you. Like I said again, I will do as many videos as I can. There are probably very few within the next month or so. I'm hoping to get back to somewhat of a regular schedule back in July. But I will do my best to keep the videos coming up. Alright guys, so with that being said, this is Spider Slayer signing off, and thank you for watching Comic Book Corner. Thanks guys, take care, bye.